Oi, ¿cómo están vocês? ¿Cómo estamos, amigos? Thank you, everybody who's responded to the survey. My name is Fikra. I'm an English language teacher. I have been in touch before. This is my second video, and this is my first video after the results of the survey, which I asked you to do for those visa students who are currently in Ireland and are here during this COVID-19 crisis. Thank you very much for sharing the survey, for completing the survey, and for getting the word out there. It's really important. You're a very important group, and we need to make sure that everyone takes you into consideration. Okay, so here are the results basically of the survey. I've had nearly 750 responses so far. 64% of you who've responded are from Brazil. Bem-vindo, caras. Then 15% of you are from Mexico. Siempre van a estar en su casa aquí, hermanos. The rest of you are from places, a lot of Latin Americans, 99% of you from Latin America. Chile, Bolivia, Honduras, Argentina, Guatemala, El Salvador, Uruguay, Costa Rica, Colombia, Panama, Nicaragua. I'm noticing we don't have Venezuelans so far. So if you have any Venezuelan friends, don't have any Ecuadorianos. If you are in touch with friends of yours who haven't, who we don't have, please put them in touch and ask them to complete the survey. It's important we have a good idea. Also, friends from the Caribbean, Cuba, La República Dominicana. You're all important. If you're here in Ireland right now, we want to make sure that you're safe. We want to make sure that everyone is provided for and isn't left behind, because your health is everybody's health and your security is everyone's security. Beyond Latin America, we have people here who are stuck from Turkey, Taiwan, India, Korea, Japan, Malaysia, and we also have some of our fellow Europeans from Spain and Italy here at the moment, who for one reason or another, you're all stuck here. You're here because of the crisis. Most of you have just arrived. And there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of insecurity, and there's a lot of stress out there. So we need to make sure that there are solutions. I'm going to go through some more of the data before I fill you in on developments. The vast majority of you have arrived here since the 1st of January 2020. What was explained to me is that when you arrive in Ireland for the purposes of study, you are supposed to have 3,000 euros on your person. Now, in the first 2 or 3 months, first little while, you have a lot of overheads. You have to pay your deposits. You have to buy winter clothes because you're coming from warm countries. Airlines don't let you take warm, hot jackets, which you normally don't have in your warm countries. This has been explained to me. There are a lot of overheads, which are upfront costs when you first arrive here. So a lot of you who are in this precarious situation have paid your school, paid your airline fare, bought winter clothes, have paid your rent, have spent a lot of money. And a lot of you have not received your PPS numbers yet, have not had the opportunity to work yet. And there's a lot of people who are in this situation, and particularly those people who have arrived within the last few months, you're particularly vulnerable. There's a difficulty there for you. There are many other people who are in difficulties. There are other people who have worked here, but not in the last month or so, for whatever reason. So they have applied for the COVID-19 payment and been told they cannot get it. These include European citizens, because the form on the social welfare asks you where you were born. So if you were born in Argentina, but you happen to be an Italian, you can't express this in the form. So these are problems we're trying to solve. 99% of you who filled out the survey are still in Ireland. The reason why a lot of you are still in Ireland is because your schools told you that classes would continue either after the 29th of March, so you stayed here instead of going home, or a lot of you couldn't get your deposits back from your landlords because they won't give you your deposit back until you find a replacement, which has no bearing in the law, to be honest. But I know that's a cultural thing here. But there are many reasons why you're here. You're basically economically and academically, you've been held hostage to a certain extent because you've invested a lot of money in your education to come here in Ireland, to come here to Ireland. Some of you have paid as much as, some of the people who responded to the survey have paid as much as 9,000 euros for the next few months of studies. That is a lot of money for anyone. And the proportion of your income that you are spending on education is much greater than any Apple, Google corporation that has its base. So you have a right to be safe and secure, and we will be expressing this as we go forward. Of the people who responded, 72% of you are in Dublin. Cork is the next biggest centre. Limerick, Galway, Louth, Waterford, Kildare, Kilkenny, Donegal and Meath. Of course, there are other places where we have students. We just haven't heard responses from you yet. Sligo, there are other cities that we need to hear, and countryside, people in the countryside. So please, if you have friends in other parts, point them our way, have them complete the survey. We are speaking with people who want to help, okay? 64% of you have your GNIB, your Garda cards from Department of Justice and Immigration, or INIS. 36% of you do not have your GNIB cards because you've arrived so recently. 63% of you do not have your PPS numbers, and this has been a serious problem because a lot of you have not been able to find work because you wanted to do things correctly. You wanted to wait until you got your PPS number before you worked, and now the crisis is here and you can't find work, but you've done nothing wrong. So we hear that, and we want to be there, and we want to make sure that the law understands your situation. That is a serious situation. Only 1% of you have been offered any refunds from your schools. There are many of you who have paid way in excess of 4,000 euros, 6,000 euros, one that was 9,000. Many of you have paid multiples of thousands of euros to spend to study in Ireland, so that teachers like I can be employed to teach you, but we are not able to because the schools are closed and there hasn't been the chance to train teachers to do online teaching properly. So there's a lot of problems. We're not blaming anyone in particular, but we're looking at, there's a problem for teachers, schools and students, but you're the people paying the money, you're the customers, and we want to make sure that you're respected. 70% of you have not found work here yet. 22.3% of you had jobs but lost them since the crisis. 11.3% of you have had your COVID payment accepted. 5.8% of you have been asked to work longer hours since the crisis. And 9.4% of you who had either lost your jobs but who were working up until the crisis got very bad, or who are still working, that's 9.4%, have been asked to work without PPE, which is personal protective equipment. Gloves, mask, sanitizer, many things, and all of this stuff that if you're working anywhere, you need to make sure you're safe. There's a difference between being an essential worker and your boss not caring about you, not caring whether you get sick. If you go to work, you have to make sure that you are going to be provided for, okay? This is really important. In many of the houses in which you live, everybody has lost their jobs. Some of you live in houses with up to 24 people under one roof. Most of you share bedrooms, making it impossible to self-isolate. 81% of you have been offered no reduction in your rent. Some of you have been offered some reductions. Others have had some negotiation with their landlords, but it has not arrived to where it needs to be yet. 20% of you live with someone who has the symptoms or who has had the symptoms of COVID-19. This is very troubling in houses which are shared. 13% of you have tried to contact the HSC and had some sort of difficulties. Some of you have been cleared for tests and then had these tests cancelled. Some of you, I know of some individuals who have been cleared for a test, who are waiting for a test, and their landlords have told them that they can have no reduction on rent, and rent is due for April, and they've been told to go work, which is contrary to HSE guidelines. If you are cleared for a test, you must self-isolate. This is the law, and you must make sure the law takes you into account no matter what. As I say, yeah, many of you, these are some of the numbers of people per house. 24 people per house, 23 people per house, 22. Many of you live in houses with 17, 16. These are very densely populated, cramped environments for anyone to live in. And this is the situation in which you find yourself. This is what we need the politicians and the civil servants to look at so we can remedy this for you. We're doing our best. What I can tell you, the success we've had so far is since you've given me this data, since I've been able to analyze it and interpret it for politicians, one politician, one leader, a leader of one of the parties, Richard Boyd Barrett of People Before Profit, I called him up and he acted very quickly. He got on to the Department of Social Protection and to the Department of Education. According to him, the people with whom he spoke in the Department of Social Protection hear you, hear us, and they do want to provide some sort of payment for those of you who don't have all of your documentation, who don't have your PPS, who don't have your GNIB, who may have had it but haven't been able to find a job yet. Those of you who are in danger of falling through the cracks, we are doing our best, and we may need to stay in contact as the days and weeks go on to make sure that no one is left behind. What else was I going to say? There are efforts, after we get some sort of payment sorted so people are not panicking, we then need to look at how people who have paid and invested so much of their money, and in some cases your family's money, in English classes, how we take care of you, how this money can either be reimbursed or how you can get what you paid for without wasting too much of your valuable time. All of you who have chosen Ireland as the destination from your studies, we value you, we appreciate you. Thank you for choosing Ireland. Thank you for giving me employment and many, many others. Now, many of us teachers have lost our jobs in the meantime. Some of us have been asked to train for online teaching. We're doing our best, but there's been such a shock for everyone. We're going to have to be a bit understanding and patient. But being understanding and patient doesn't mean you have to be treated like a fool. We don't want you to be left behind or treated badly. So I want to just say thanks again. I will be in touch if you have any further situations that you want to communicate. You can add them in comments below this video on YouTube so that other people, not just myself, can look at individual situations and see how you need to be catered for, how you need to be looked after. And that's it. Aos amigos brasileiros, obrigado por todo. Vocês são uma parte muito importante de nossos países agora. E vocês não vão ser olvidados. Y los amigos latinos que hablan español, pues te agradecemos que se hayan elegido Irlanda. Estamos con ustedes, vamos a trabajar juntos, que todos vayan a salir de esta crisis bien seguros. And to other non-Latin American friends who are here from other countries, European and non-European countries, you're not forgotten about either, and we're going to work with all the political parties, with the civil servants. People don't want to see other people suffer. This isn't a country of political extremes. We want to find strong common ground with people. I recommend that you find out who your local TD is. This is your TD, like Member of Parliament, Teachta Dála. You can go to whoismytd.com, whoismytd.com. You can find out who is the representative, the parliamentary representative for your area. Now, the HSE issue guidelines, which are updated, hse.ie. They are updated regularly. The HSE is also recruiting people who can help, who have previous medical experience, nurses, doctors, drivers. Many people are going to be needed. So if you are here and you feel you have something to contribute to this crisis, to the social and medical crisis, you should also apply if you feel that your services could benefit those very many people who will need your help. You can look up the link for that. It's HSE recruitment. On Call for Ireland. That's one of the, you can look that up. Apart from that, please stay safe. Please don't panic others. Communicate as effectively as you can to your representatives, to myself, to your teachers, to your schools, to your embassies about your situation. But try and encourage each other to get enough sleep, to eat healthily, to economize, because we don't know when this payment's going to arrive, and when it does arrive, everyone's going to have to be very careful. So choose well what you eat, learn recipes, ring up your abuelita and ask about those good recipes that you can use, ask about what can boost your immune system, try and find out, do some research. This is an opportunity to improve your English in unexpected ways, following recipes. Also, another way to improve your English is stay in touch with the RTE News Bulletin. Okay, that's the national radio station here, national broadcaster. It's rte.ie. That is the website. RTE Radio 1 has the most reliable source of news. Every hour on the hour, there's a news bulletin. You can download the RTE News Now app, you can download the RTE Radio app, and you can download the RTE Player, which is the television audiovisual version, and you can watch the news. I encourage people to watch the news at least once a day at 6 p.m. and at 9 p.m. in the evening. We have an update on the situation. It would be recommendable that you stay in touch. And it's also a way to improve your English. The English that's spoken on RTE is very clear, and it should be a good way for you to both stay in touch and improve your English. Apart from that, I think that's it. That's enough of me. We all appreciate you. We care about you. We need to care about each other. Thank you again for choosing Ireland as a destination for study and work. You're not going to be forgotten about. Stay in touch, and I will be in touch about other things we can do together in terms of making sure our cases are heard and that everyone will be safe. Take care of each other, and take care of yourself. Okay, bye.